And it's delete it when you close Outlook. And now we have another caller. We have Abby on the webcam from Laval, Quebec.
Hello, Abby.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Welcome to the show. What can I do for
you? Thanks a lot. Actually, my question was about formatting my hard disk.
Okay.
And what happens is that anytime it gets formatted, it only reads 140 gigs, because my hard disk is right now 200 gigs.
Oh,
the old 140 gigs.
The old hard drive limitations question.
Right.
Yeah, this is actually a question that comes up a lot now that hard drives have gotten so big. Essentially, what happened is hard drives exceeded the size that anybody anticipated they would exceed. So there are a number of issues. It can actually be, there are three different factors. There's the BIOS of your computer, there's the BIOS of your hard drive interface, your IDE interface, and there's your operating system, all three of which can limit you. Now, you are at the 137 gig limit, right? That's a key limit, and that comes from, as I remember, actually, what am I answering this question for? I shouldn't be answering this question. Steve Gibson is standing right here. If anybody would know about hard drive limits, it's the guy who wrote SpinRite. He probably knows more about hard drives than any human alive.
Oh, fantastic.
What is the 137 gigabyte limit? That's a IDE limit?
It's 28-bit LBA limit.
It's
there's 28
the way it's addressing the data.
Exactly. The original controllers on motherboards only understood 28 bits, which, when drives were 50 meg,
that was plenty.
That was like, we're never going to use all 28.
Now, do they assign each sector its own address?
Yeah,
okay.
It's called LBA, linear block addressing.
So it's how many sectors you can have on the drive.
Exactly. It's an absolute firm limit on the total sector count the drive can have. A couple years ago, we realized, oops, that's not enough anymore. So we went from 28 to 48. So new motherboards and drives and controllers understand the 48-bit LBA.
Right.
Now,
so the problem isn't your drive, because it's a new drive. It's a 200. Right. Nobody would make a 200 gig drive without supporting it. It's your controller. It's the IDE controller, probably, right?
And Windows also needed to be upgraded. What they did is there's a Service Pack 2 issue, and there's a registry setting that you have to explicitly change in order to enable 48-bit LBA mode.
So it may be that his hardware supports it, but Windows itself isn't supporting
it. Well, and what happens is, if it wasn't supported, if you went through any series of upgrade cycles, Windows would never turn it on if it wasn't on already. And so if you go to Microsoft and just search for 48-bit LBA, I'll bet you'll come up with a bunch of links that'll show you what you can do in XP to turn that on.
It's a simple registry edit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so basically it's a question of registry. You said 42-bit LBA.
48-bit LBA.
Linear block addressing.
And just do a Google search, and we'll put a link in the show notes for this, but if you do a Google search, what I do is I always say site:/Microsoft.com, so that I'm Googling only the Microsoft site, and I've just done that and here it is, 48-bit LBA support for ATAPI disk drives. Now this says Windows 2000. You're using Windows XP, right?
That's right.
So you're going to want to find the entry.
Service Pack 2.
Yeah. Oh, you already have Service Pack 2 on there.
That's right.
But then that's a question of it didn't change it because it wasn't set that way in the beginning.
Exactly.
It doesn't want to change it unless you explicitly tell it.
And like horrible things happen because it ends up wrapping around the end of the drive, because some software sees the larger drive and some doesn't. Oh. And so you can do things like pass the end that comes back around and kills the beginning.
Overwriting
it's really a problem.
I'll tell you, another way to find this, Abby, is the article ID, which is 303013. This is on Microsoft's knowledge base.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, 303013. 013. This article describes the Microsoft Windows XP 48-bit logical block addressing, support for ATA packet interface, blah, 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 and how to increase it past the 137. So the first limit was the 1024 cylinder limit, right?
The early limit was 64K sectors.
64K
sectors couldn't be bigger. Then we ran 64K sectors, then 64K clusters. Then people added those. Remember those?
And what did that limit do to? Was that like a 512 meg drive?
Yes.
512
yes.
megs.
And then remember, there were those add-ons that were like device drivers that would fake out and say, my sectors are not 512 bytes,
Right.
they're 2K
You could still
or
get
8K.
those, right.
And that was another, like workaround
On-track and
problem.
stuff like that.
On-track disk manager,
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
We're old-timers. We have to go through this every time. So anyway, we're currently 48-bit addressing. We're talking
Leo,
like big drives.
we're never going to run out. That's all we'll ever need.
Famous last words. All right, Abby. So 303013. It'll tell you the registry hack you have to make this all work. Okay?
And then what I have to do is just when I do formatting, and then I go for the search, the Microsoft for 303013, or
No. You have to do. No, don't do anything until you've gone to the website. Go to Microsoft.com. Say support.microsoft.com. Go to their knowledge base and look for that article and read it. Print it out. Because it tells you exactly what you have to change. It's HKey local machine system, current control set services, ATAPI parameters. This is in the registry. You'll change that, and as soon as you change that, all of a sudden you can format that drive to be